Good afternoon, I'm Brandy Smith in the KHU 11 newsroom. Right now we are waiting to hear from Houston Police about what they're calling the Safe Roads Initiative. They say this is going to be targeting road rage, and this is something that we have been talking about as a community for weeks, really months. We saw numbers starting to skyrocket in 2020, incidents of road rage shootings, road rage accidents. And most recently, we have the really high-profile case involving 17-year-old David Castro. We have some video to show you, and it's going to start off with the suspect vehicle and a suspect photo, or a sketch, I should say, a composite sketch. This is who police are looking for related to the case of David Castro. This is the 17-year-old. He was headed home with his dad after an Astros game. There was some kind of confrontation as they were stuck in that Astros traffic. They headed out on the East Freeway, took the Wayside exit, and that's when they say the suspect who had followed them to that point opened fire on the car, hit David Castro. He was on life support. His organs are going to be donated, his dad says, and it has inspired acts of kindness in David's name, but police are still searching for that gunman. Another incident just happened this past weekend. Police say they have made an arrest. Deputies say they have made an arrest in this case. They say the suspect's name is Jerry Calejo. They say he and a family got into it on the Katy Freeway, and that Calejo pulled a gun. He is now charged with assault with a deadly weapon. And there was a third incident, if we have that video, Jaime, also on the Katy Freeway. Police are looking for a suspect who pointed a gun at another family. It's just one after the other, and it really seems like these incidents are happening daily. But there is more of a conversation happening on one of our posts on our Facebook page. You can look for it. It's a large graphic that asks if you have been the victim of road rage on Houston streets, but it looks like the HPD officers have just come to the podium, so we're going to join this press conference about the Safe Roads Initiative now.
All right, Chief, your name and title, please.
Larry Satterwhite. I'm the Executive Assistant Chief over Field and Support Operations. I have with me Commander Reese Hardy over our Traffic Enforcement Division, Assistant Chief Patty Cantu over our Patrol Region 2, and Commander Ron Borza over our Major Offenders Division. So today we are here to talk about something that is really plaguing our city. Honestly, it's plaguing our nation, and that is road rage. It's been in the news, and rightfully so, because people are scared about getting out on the roadways, and we understand that with all the things that are happening. So we wanted to let you know that we are working to combat that and ensure everybody is able to get to and from in a safe pace, a safe time. You know, road rage has a lot of definitions, but essentially it's aggressive or violent behavior exhibited by drivers out on our roadways. There's a lot of reasons for this: stress, frustration, anger because you feel like somebody cut you off or something like that goes on the roadway, and then people carry it out in ways that are dangerous and actually and create more problems for themselves and for other people. So we really want to work on trying to mitigate that, trying to get people to show a little bit more respect, more restraint on the roadways, be more respectful of each other so that everybody can get where they need to go in a safe place. It has become such a problem of late and we've seen rise of it. In just this year alone, we've had over 1,500 calls for service regarding road rage. Now, those are not all calls that we have crimes behind or investigations behind, but that's the calls that have come in. But I will tell you that we have over 100 calls, investigations currently underway right now involving firearms between our Major Assaults and Family Violence Unit division and our Homicide division, working on those types of crimes that have happened just this year in our city. And the most tragic, obviously, we already know about, and so this is a really big problem that we need to address. So much so that a couple of weeks ago, I met with all of the constables' offices of precincts in the city and in the region, as well as Harris County Sheriff's Department, Department of Public Safety, and our Metro Police Department to work as a collaboration, because I truly believe the best way to attack that, given our limited resources, is to collaborate with everybody. Thankfully, our mayor and our city council have provided a lot of funds in terms of overtime dollars, and we've been able to increase a lot of our enforcement out on our roadways and into our highly impacted neighborhoods, because we're looking at violent crime in general around the city. And so we're trying to bring that down and ensure everybody's safer, make everybody in each community feel safer in their own homes and then when they go out into the public space. So with that, we have a presentation to offer to you. I'm going to turn this mic over to Commander Reese Hardy. We have a PowerPoint presentation to show you what our actual plan that we have launched in the last couple of weeks to see what our progress has been thus far and what you will be seeing out there in terms of enforcement, in terms of education and messaging, which are critically important because we really need the public's help in this, and of course on the investigation side. So with that, Commander Hardy.
Thank you, Chief. The Safe Roadways Initiative is a multi-divisional, multi-agency initiative targeting road rage incidents in our city, our region. We have put together a group with our regional partners, and if you'll go to the next slide, please. You can see all of our partners here. We have all of the Harris County precincts in our region. We also have the Metro Police Department, the Harris County Sheriff's Department, and of course the Texas Department of Public Safety, who've all committed to providing resources to help combat this issue in our area. Next slide, please. So road rage incidents encompass a wide array of different types of offenses. You can have intentional crashes, you can have physical assaults, aggravated assaults, shootings, and even murders. Now, while it's difficult to predict when and where these types of incidents are going to occur, we do know that the majority of them occur on our freeways, and they tend to occur around those high traffic times of day. So think about rush hour, both in the morning hours and in the evening time, leading on to those later hours in the evenings. Next slide. So what we want to do, a big component of our initiative, is getting messaging and tools out to the public so that they have what they need to disengage and prevent road rage incidents from happening in the first place. And some of those tips are very common sense, but they bear repeating. Avoid tailgating. Let drivers pass when they need to pass. Please use your turn signal. If somebody needs to get in front of you, let them in. And then when you're in parking lots, be considerate of other folks looking for the same parking space, right? It's not anything worth losing your temper over. If you find yourself getting drawn into some sort of confrontation, here are some tips to kind of get out of that. Avoid eye contact. Don't respond to someone else's aggression with your own aggression. Be tolerant and forgiving. Everybody is trying to get somewhere safely, and just remember that we're all out there trying to get to the next place as safe as we possibly can. Avoid offensive hand gestures. Those can spark off a lot of road rage incidents in and of themselves. And then if you feel like you're threatened, you're being followed, your safety is in danger, call 911 and be prepared to give the dispatcher your location and your direction of travel so that we can get police officers out to you. Next slide. We are going to have an increased enforcement presence within our region looking for aggressive driving behavior, the types of behaviors that lead to road rage incidents. And that mission is going to be enhanced by all of our regional partners who will be out there partnering with us, communicating with us. And the types of behaviors we're talking about are excessive speeding, tailgating, multiple lane changes without signaling, your offensive gestures that we discussed, and then also unreasonable use of your horn. Next slide. We got this initiative kicked off last weekend, and we saw a 20% reduction in the number of road rage related calls for service last weekend alone. And then we also conducted about 114 traffic stops, 6 arrests, and 270 citations, just as it pertains to the Safe Roadways Initiative. Next slide.
That's it.
That's what we got.
Any questions for Commander Hardy or Executive Chief Satterwhite?
Yeah, so, both of you guys are obviously driving all the time. We posted something and asked people, hey, have you experienced road rage? And they said, you know what, it's like asking if you've sat in traffic in Houston. That's how bad it is. So I was wondering if either of you, when you're not on the job, when you're not on patrol, have experienced something similar to road rage or experienced road rage.
So, I mean, well, you could answer. I think you're right. We would both say, yes, we have seen the aggressive driving out there, and we have seen people get frustrated, whether or not we were involved in it or we just witnessed it. Because when you are out on the roadway, you see that. When you're out on the roadway on the weekends and late in the evening, we see a lot of other things that lead to bad behavior, a lot of road rage, and that is the street racing and the burnouts and all the other things that we see in the city. So this is a challenge for us and for the whole public, to everybody to understand that, understand the risk that is there, and to pull back. One of our campaign is going to be Take the High Road. You know, road rage kills. That's what you're going to start seeing on signboards. You're going to start seeing it in pamphlets and in publications. It's simple, it's quick, and it drives the point of, look, it's not worth it to further engage and put yourself or your family at risk. Be a good witness. Identify if somebody's behaving in a really bad way on our roadways. Be a good witness in terms of who that is, and if you can safely and sufficiently get license plates and all those things and call us, we will do those investigations. But we are asking the public themselves to not get drawn into that behavior to where there's a risk to you or to your family or to someone else, because we've seen tragically all of that happen. And even with all of that, we know bad things happen because a lot of times there's just a lot of bad actors out there. Do everything you can to the public to help to protect yourself and to protect everyone around you, and then let us know, and we will investigate also.
Should you respond, like if you're involved in a road rage incident, should you respond by like showing your gun to if they show?
No, ma'am.
Absolutely.
No.
That's right.
And thank you for that question, because people may feel that way. Hey, look, I need to defend myself. The very best way you can defend yourself, and understand not everybody can. Sometimes these things have happened, and we have victims that had no chance. So this is, when you can avoid it and be a good witness. By all means, no, don't meet aggression with aggression. Do not do that, please.
I mean, because we saw 2 incidents just this week where people were flaunting their gun at someone else.
So it is a problem, and again, I can tell you that it does not ever lead to good outcomes. It's just like when we talk to people about protecting themselves when they go in and out of stores and parking lots and all those places that you are at risk. Protect yourself on the roadway too. Don't get drawn into it. Understand your surroundings. Plan ahead, because a lot of times our road rage can stem just from frustration, from traffic in and out. Well, that's a part of Houston. Traffic jams, we're going to see them. But plan ahead. This will help lower the level of frustration, the level of stress in everybody's life, and hopefully lead to better outcomes for everybody. But no, please, we don't want people to meet aggression with aggression. We want them to call us.
So something you'd said, try to record, their license plate and this and that. There was a case recently where somebody recorded them on their cell phone, which was great because you guys are able to see, the license plate, you see the face, right? But then sometimes if you take out a cell phone, that actually kind of makes it even worse. Honestly, kind of pisses people off, right? What do you say to that?
Can you go up to the mic, Chief?
Yes, absolutely. So what I will say is that with everything that we ask of the public, we ask you to first and foremost protect yourselves and protect your family. Okay, if there is a way to safely do that, then fine, great. Video and cameras and all kinds of things, and our cars are more advanced than ever before, and there's all kinds of things out there that are already recording. But first and foremost, protect yourself and protect your family. So how you do that is not doing anything that might provoke the other driver into further aggression. So distance is your friend. And it's just like when you're out anywhere you are where there's some type of suspicious behavior, people you don't know, something's going on, we recommend exercise distance from that. That's your best chance of avoiding the problem.
You had mentioned 1,500 calls. I was just curious.
So just to be clear, that's calls for service.
Calls for service, yeah.
And it could be on multiple, it could be on the same instance. One person driving terribly up 45 could probably elicit 40 calls in and of themselves, right?
Yeah.
Because there are people that are upset because of the behavior. We know that happens. But that's, again, it's sometimes road rage is very loosely defined. We get the call, somebody calls in. So that's not indicative of actual cases that we are investigating or anything like that. Those are just calls for service. That's an easy number to go grab and say, this is the kind of thing that's going on. But we have witnessed an uptick in calls for service, and we haven't witnessed an uptick in actual investigations, crimes that have occurred. So.
You talked about enforcement. Let's talk about that. How are you going to be able to enforce this? Is it people cutting people off? They're getting tickets? What are they getting tickets for? What could they face?
So without getting too deep into the weeds on tactics, which we won't, but I will tell you, generally speaking, the commanders and the chief next to me and all of HPD and all of our partners are using different strategies to identify bad behavior. We obviously have uniform enforcement. That's traffic stops, which sometimes leads to citations, sometimes leads to arrest, and like Commander Hardy said, can also lead to taking guns off the street and all those other things that can happen during a normal traffic stop, which happens every day. But I just want to tell everybody, and especially the bad actors that are out there, we are not just in marked cars. We are in unmarked cars. We have officers working in undercover capacity out there, different times of the day, different hours, and they're watching. So just because there's not a police car around doesn't mean you're not being observed and information gathered, and you might have an officer pulling you over very shortly to go further with that investigation.
So should people be warned, hey, you're going to be covering hotspots, like just
So,
busy areas?
Well, yes. I mean, and it's exactly. We are on all of our freeways and all of our places where this emerges the most, but we're everywhere. Okay, it's not just the freeways. It's some of our major roads in the city, and you all probably already know them. I don't have to go through that list. That we're going to be out there. So wherever the calls are coming, when a citizen calls, when we receive a call on a road rage incident, when we have one of our teams out there, they're going to go take primary because they know what they're looking for. So again, it's about response, it's about proactive enforcement, and it's about investigation, because just because they got away with it that day doesn't mean they're going to get away with it, because we're going to follow up. We have investigations, and we will file arrest warrants, and we will go pick people up. That's already happening, and it will continue to happen far more than what we're seeing now.
I know you said you partner with constables, so does that
Yes.
mean that they're going to cover like other county areas that are
So,
close to these?
right. So, I mean, most people know, but just for those people that aren't familiar with the Houston, Harris County area, obviously we have a lot of smaller agencies that have different areas of the city that they cover. As a matter of fact, 8 in the Harris County area. And yes, there's overlapping areas of responsibility. So in those areas, the constables are also helping us out. They're looking for those types of instances and can respond. When they get a case, they're sharing with us, and we're all collaborating and pushing the information out. So there's a lot of communication between agencies, which is a part of how we identify the bad behavior and hold those accountable that way. So all those things are happening. Like I said, we can't say enough thanks to DPS. They're helping us out as much as they can. We can't say anything for Harris County, because this is not just a City of Houston issue. This is Harris County. This is actually Fort Bend, Montgomery. All of our counties, all of our surrounding region and the nation is impacted by this. So we are all talking, and we're all working together to make the roadways safer.
When was this initiative implemented?
So our ramp up, because we were already doing this actually even as of late last year, but it was a very small amount of resources, simply because we're stretched so thin. We just didn't have enough resources to really, officers and personnel, to really focus on it. But thanks to some additional funding, and this continued growing problem, we've really increased it. We're really really heavily kicked it off going into last weekend, about midweek into the last week, over the weekend, and now we're continuing on. We're not going to publish what days we're going to be out there or what times. But for those that are going to go out there and act very badly, we're out there all the time. We'll just tell them that.
Any other questions?
Can you take a statement in Spanish?
Absolutely. Chief can too.
No traje mis notas. Okay.
Can we lower that mic?
Just a little bit.
Any questions?
Bueno, Pati, brevemente podrías más o menos decirnos lo que el Departamento de la Policía de Houston estará haciendo.
Okay, en este momento nosotros comenzamos una iniciativa para prevenir la rabia de manejando en las autopistas. Especialmente nosotros estamos con 3 cosas: educación, dando el mensaje y enforzando los que están haciendo los males en las autopistas. Entonces, nosotros estamos tratando de prevenir la maneja agresiva y la manera de que las cosas se están poniendo bien violentas. Entonces nosotros solamente estamos tratando de decir a las personas, a la comunidad, que por favor ten paciencia, ¿ok? Esto es una cosa que no estamos tratando de ganar. Nosotros solamente queremos que todos viven, que no haya homicidios, asaltos, y esas cosas se pueden prevenir, pero uno tiene que pensar las cosas bien, tomar tiempo, ya saber, no estar en tanta carrera, dejar a otras personas que pasen al otro lado, al carril. Entonces, y no manejar tan cerca a la otra persona porque se enojan. Y si ven que las personas se están poniendo agresivas, por favor, no respondan, no les están haciendo maneras con las manos bien ofensivas. Nomás deja pasar, todavía comienza a llegar a donde usted necesita llegar. Porque lo importante es que necesitamos que lleguen a su casa, al trabajo, al restaurante, pero no deben de temer de salir ustedes. El mensaje aquí es de educación, para poner el mensaje que por favor, que tengan paciencia, que no, si ven algo agresivo en las calles, no toman por su tiempo para comenzar a alegarse, a pelearse. Nosotros necesitamos que llamen a la policía, porque nosotros vamos a estar allí varios días, horas, durante el día, durante la noche, y vamos a tratar de prevenir estas cosas, porque en las semanas pasadas hemos visto personas que han muerto por esto, y esto es no necesidad. Nosotros queremos salvar las vidas y nosotros queremos que la comunidad, sus familias, sus hijos, sus papás, que lleguen a la casa o al trabajo o no tengan miedo de salir. Todos tenemos el derecho de salir, pero estar tranquilos a llegar a la casa.
¿Les puedo hablar sobre los números o el éxito que tuvieron
El fin de semana pasada teníamos el éxito, parece que tomamos 20% menos cuando comenzó todo el iniciativo, menos crimen en las autopistas.
¿Y eso fue a través de qué medidas?
Las medidas que nosotros estábamos más vigilantes. Nosotros estuvimos allí afuera, arrestamos bastantes gentes y también dimos los tiquetes.
Pati, yo sé que cubriste mucho con lo que dijiste, pero ¿qué mensajes le darías a los criminales, a los delincuentes que están allá afuera actuando de una manera tan agresiva sin motivo?
El mensaje que quiero decir es que, por favor, que tengan paciencia. Si quieren pelear, háganlo en otra parte. Las personas son inocentes y no tienen la culpa que ustedes están enojados y son agresivos. Nosotros vamos a estar allí para la gente, para la ciudad, y nosotros vamos a proteger a la comunidad. Entonces, por favor, aunque sean criminales y agresivos, por favor, queremos que sepan que nosotros vamos a estar allí vigilando, protegiendo, y los vamos a pescar a ustedes, especialmente las personas que andan asaltando y haciendo estos disparos en los otros carros.
Any other questions? Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Nice job. Hey, sure. And we'll get with Carvana because this is not a long campaign.
Your mom is proud.
Oh, thank you.